Jesus! What the hell happened last night? Welcome to Fright Night. For real. Hi, welcome to the Motion Picture Notion. I'm your host, Gabriel Burton, and today I want to talk about the epically awesome horror film, Fright Night. Fright Night is another sterling example of what I really love about 80s horror films. Best I can tell, it was actually supposed to be sort of a nostalgic tribute to like the old Christopher Lee films. Essentially, Roddy McDowall was supposed to be like the cliched vampire hunter of the 1960s. And they did such a great job, like, cheesing it up, where it's like he's going after a girl with a stake, but, like, it's backwards, and it's like, dude, what the... You know, something that you would expect to have come out around that time, and something that, you know, around the 80s would have been nostalgic. So, the story basically follows this boy, Charlie Brewster, okay, who gets a new neighbor that lives next door to him in an extremely creepy house. Chris Sarandon plays Jerry Dandridge, the vampire next door, and he does such a good job. Like, everybody in the movie does a great job because they understand. It is a horror film. It is, you know, but it's supposed to be fun. It's not really supposed to be like really dark and disturbing. All right, Tom Holland didn't intend for that to happen. He wanted people to go to the theaters to watch this and to just be entertained. And the humor was very, I mean, except for like the old vampire videos and some of the campiness with like Evil Ed, portrayed by Stephen Jeffries, who would later on go to do gay porn, which is interesting. I had heard that somewhere, and I'm like, what? No, that's bullshit. I went online, sure as shit. I see on his like resume, there's like a video called The Cockpit, and like men who like big dicks too, and I'm like, okay, alright, I guess it's true. Well, hey, to each their own. But at any rate, the overall vibe of the movie is fun. You know, it's got some really good, like, practical effects that I love with, like, you know, the big extended vampire jaws and the vampire bat that's all animatronic. Vampires turning into different things and, like, the effects they use to, like, morph, where they sped up a scene of, like, hair growing and stuff like that. It's all just beautifully, beautifully 80s. And my favorite part of the movie, okay, no spoilers, but this one scene, okay, they're in a nightclub, and partially what I really liked about it was the music, okay? The one that I had in the beginning, Evelyn Champagne King, that is a guilty pleasure of mine. I think that when I was filming this video, my neighbors were probably listening to me blasting that on the television and were like, wow, this dude's a Fruit Loop. And the entire soundtrack in that nightclub scene was beautiful. It worked in the context of the movie, and it just went with the scene. It's like, you know, Charlie has his girlfriend Amy, and they're trying to escape, and he's trying to call the police. And while he's there, like, talking, you know, to the operator, Amy sees Jerry Dandridge, like, coming through the crowd of people. And of course, he's a fucking vampire. He's, you know, kind of a badass and kind of rapey at the same time. He gets her in his sights, and she's looking at him, and she just gets, like, sort of, like, drawn out onto the dance floor. The nightclub scene is, without a doubt, in my opinion, the best vampire seduction of a woman scene ever filmed. And there is a scene where she's dancing with him, and she sees herself in the mirror. It's like wall-to-wall mirrors, and she sees herself dancing with nothing, and she's like just looking at the mirror as she's dancing, and then she looks back at him like incredulous, like, what's going on? And then when that song picks up, Evelyn Champagne King, it's like, it's on. And poor fucking Charlie, okay, talking on the telephone, trying to get the police, and he just has no fucking clue that this is going on. Epic. You know, the character of Peter Vincent, portrayed by Roddy McDowall, is great, okay? Because he hosts this show. He's kind of like the washed-up, like, 60s actor. He was really big back in his heyday, but now he's looked at as kind of a joke. But Charlie grew up with his movie, so he fucking loves him, and he goes to him for help. And, of course, naturally, Peter thinks he's a complete fucking psychopath. But as things unfold, as shit hits the fan, and Peter kind of realizes, oh crap, he's been telling the truth the entire time. It turns out that Peter is a complete and utter coward. Very, very like, and it's great, and you love him too. Like, he's a coward, but he's a lovable coward. It was actually a very limited cast, but those that were in the movie did a really, really great job. The movie was obviously not done on like a crazy big budget, but it didn't need one. It was such a simple idea, and it just worked in every single way. It's probably my favorite vampire movie ever made, and it's definitely one of my favorite horror films ever made. And actually, hold on, I gotta show you guys something. Hold on. Jesus. Okay, so those of you who are horror fans such as myself should recognize this. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is a copy of Fright Night 2. Funny story behind this. I bought this at Borders before it was out of print for like $12.99, and I sold it to one of my friends for like $5. And and basically, you know, several years later, it's like you can't find it anywhere. You get this shit used for $50. Brand new, it goes for like over $100. And so I went up to him, I'm like, hey man, I'm like, you remember that DVD I sold you? Hey, not to be like, you know, an Indian giver or anything, but could I have that back? Because, you know, I'll pay you for it. I'll pay you double for it. That. And he's sort of like, oh, well, I don't know. I'm like, dude, you don't even watch it. Stop being a fucking tool. So, anyways, finally I talked him into it, and boom, Fright Night 2 on DVD. Oh, just fucking release it already. What's your problem? Anyways, Fright Night 2 follows the same characters that survived the first film, and honestly, it's a very worthy sequel. It's not as good as the first one, but it's up there. It's way more than I would have expected from a sequel to a movie so great. Oh, I love it. Anyways, that was really meant to hit the couch, but I didn't hear anything break. So yeah, guys, if you haven't seen it, the Fright Night movies, check them out, please. Until next time, guys, that's all she wrote.